What's up, guys? It's Cody with F is for Fanatic. We are back. Let me go ahead and get this shared to Twitter real fast, and then we will start today. I know that usually the live stream is on a different day. It's usually on Saturday. Today's Sunday. I had some yard work I had to get done. A tree was going to fall on my garage, so I had to get that chopped up yesterday, and so there's that, life of living out here in the country. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Get this shared out, and we will be ready to roll. Of course. Now that I'm live, it's going to be a pain in the butt. Alrighty. So, let's see. If you are here watching, go ahead and put a comment in. Today I wanted to talk about kind of the spring game and kind of my thoughts on it. A lot of Gator fans are kind of freaking out about it, and I don't think it was a bad showing at all. There's a lot of good things I got to see. Cam Carroll looks really, really good, man. He looks thicker and bigger than what I thought he was too. So super excited about that. And it's one of those things where the offense usually is a step behind the defense. Yeah. Pigskin, I agree. If you want to call in, the link is right there in the description. But yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely a quarterback battle. It seemed like Billy had scripted plays for both of them. He wanted to kind of see what both quarterbacks could do with those plays and kind of the decisions that he made. What's up, Evil? I think it's, a lot of people complained about the score, but boy, we would be really worried if Florida came out and the offense looked, just like a juggernaut and the defense couldn't stop anything. I think we would be really upset about that, because it's like, oh, well, we recruited all this defense and we got this new defensive coordinator and it looked terrible. Now, I think the defensive play calling was way more aggressive than the offensive play calling. I think that's just the type of guy that the new DC is. Saw a lot of blitzes. Yes, Evil. Just like last year, it was an offensive juggernaut, and we were like, oh man, AR is going to be great, and this thing's going to be great. And then we found out the defense was probably one of the worst in the nation. And I'm okay with a low scoring game, and other fans are gonna the Miami guys and the FSU guys, they're gonna spin it. They're gonna spin it. Yep, just like Lincoln Riley, year in and year out. Yep, absolutely, Pigskin. But here's the thing. Who cares? At least we didn't do what Miami did. What Miami did was so unheard of. He was giving away points for sacks and turnover on downs, I believe. to pump the score to make it look like they were scoring points. Who does that? That's kind of embarrassing. You thought 7-10 was, 7-10 was an embarrassing score. Imagine your coach giving points away. That's not football. What is that? What game is that? Did you see that, Evil? What game is, oh, you're gonna get a point for turnover on downs or however, and the announcers like just rolled with it like it was a normal thing. That's not normal. And Miami tries to spin it because Miami's so terrible. It is what it is. Let's get back on schedule though. 3 points for a strip. Yep. And then at one point, Evil, the Mario told the defensive line to stop rushing the passer so the quarterback could hit some open receivers. That's not even a scrimmage. That's not even a scrimmage is supposed to be a simulated game, right, guys? I don't know what Miami was. I don't know what that was. That was fairy tale. That was I don't know. That's probably what football is going to be like in 30 years, truthfully. Because everybody needs a trophy. Yeah, I don't see how that builds culture doing stuff like that, but fake program. Things I did like. Mertz made some pretty good throws that I liked. Now, he missed some stuff, but you got to realize it's still very new. He just got here a couple months ago. So the playbook is very new to him. You saw flashes of like, oh yeah, that's it. Like he was kind of rolling to his right and he throws a dot as he's stepping out of bounds. I mean, stuff like that. You're like, man, this guy's really good. And he did as best as he could for a muddy pocket. Now, I will say this, some of the sacks, which wouldn't have been sacks, that they call the play dead, like when they just would reach out and touch him, like as he's scrambling by, like obviously that's not going to be a sack in real life. You know what I mean? So that was kind of frustrating to see drives just kind of go away because, a player reached out and touched them. But I get with player safety and stuff like that. That would be kind of interesting. The only problem you would be worried about is getting guys hurt, obviously, pigskin. That's why, like, some people are on this thing where you bring in a FCS opponent, and I don't really like it. I'm okay with just the orange and blue game. Miller is the Ohio State transfer. He looked okay. Yeah, he did. I think Mertz is the guy, though. Truthfully, it's hard. It's hard to replicate the amount of playing time that Mertz has in games, and it's really hard. It's like on the job training. You know what I mean? Pigskin, like it would be like oh, I have a year of like, okay, so I'm a mechanic. So it'd be like I have a year at Lincoln Tech or ITT Tech or whatever, or I have a year of on the job training in an actual shop in an actual work environment doing the actual job. I think that is more. That's more of a. That's definitely more important than a degree from Lincoln Tech or whatever, because you just learn more. And when I had a kid from Lincoln Tech, and he literally told me that I was mentoring. He literally told me, I learned more from you in 2 days than I learned at Lincoln Tech in 2 years because it's real world stuff. It's on the job stuff. So it's one of those things where it's like, it just you just learn more on the job. And I think it's the same way in football. Like, it's really hard to replicate those highs and lows and momentums of games that Mertz has experienced. And he's won games and he's lost games and he's thrown a pick to lose it and he's thrown a touchdown to win it and he's led game winning drives and he's led game losing drives, and that stuff is there's no it's like a jar of unobtainium. There's no the price you really can't put a price on it. So, and he's played a lot. So I still think Mertz is the guy. I think Cam Carroll, man, that running back though is going to be. We will have a 3-headed monster this year in ETN, Johnson, and Cam Carroll, because Cam Carroll showed us, hey, I know there's 2 elite NFL backs, but I'm here to get my carries. He hurdled a guy. On defense, he hurdled him, made him kind of look bad, but he's a big bruising back. So, and we haven't really had a back like that, that kind of running style since what's his name? Evil. He plays for the Texans now. Golly, what's his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. He plays for the Texans. He's a running back for the Texans, and Mullen never used him. And then the guy before that would probably be Pierce. Yep. And we didn't use him. So it was like he wasn't even here, right? Yeah, he kind of runs like that. But I think he's a little more athletic than Pierce. I think Pierce's running style kind of reminds me of Lynch, Marshawn Lynch, and Cam Carroll is a little bit different, but still has that kind of big frame, super excited about that. The speed of Aiden Mizell, they had to hold him all night because they were worried about getting burnt deep with him. Yeah, he does run angry. You know who he kind of reminds me of? A little bit slower Adrian Peterson. And I know that's like big shoes, but that's kind of how he reminds me with the hurdling, because Pierce really didn't hurdle anybody. But he kind of reminds me of like an older Adrian Peterson, when Adrian Peterson's last couple of years with the Vikings. Ran angry, has some speed, has some athleticism to hurdle people, has that frame. So it's kind of the guy that he reminds me of. Big giant arms, big legs, just built like a Greek god. So that's kind of who he reminds me of. Pigskin remembers old AP. I think that I think the wide receivers looked really good, man. Like I said, Mizell is going to be a problem. I think Mizell is probably going to get more PIs and holding calls than he does have catches, because the guy is just so fast. They were holding him left and right. That's all I saw last during the spring game, was holding him. If you go back and rewatch it, I watched it twice. I'll probably watch it again tonight, but if you go back and watch them, they're holding on for dear life to Aiden Mizell. So he's got to be able to get off the line and shed that and get going, because when he does, he's wide open. Yeah, for yards. Yep, it don't matter how we get him, right? If it's a PI is just as good as a 40-yard bomb. So let's see. I was impressed with Armstrong. He seemed very engaged with the defense and staff. I enjoy his game plan as well. Yeah, me too. Pigskin, I'm going to say this. His defensive philosophy, I love. Now, There will be times we're going to get on this thing during Gator Vent Line. We're going to do a live call-in show after the Gators. We're going to do a Gators win line when they win and a Gators vent line when they lose, so you can come on here and vent. We're going to keep it PG-13, of course. But so you can come on and vent and talk about your stuff. Hey guys, the link is in the description if you want to hop on here. Pigskin, I know you're moving and have kids and everything, so if you can't, I understand. But Evil, if you want to hop in here, um, I'll get you pulled in. You don't even have to show your face if you don't want to. I know some people don't like doing that. I don't like showing. I'm having a bad hair day, so. But I think I love his philosophy, and what I loved is, I really liked about it is that he didn't change it up for the spring game. He brought heat everywhere, and I like that. Here's another thing I like about Armstrong is he's young, he's energetic, and the kids seem to really like him, like a lot. They like him a lot. So, that's one of the things, that defense will go out there and die on the field for you if they love you. Universal. Yeah, it's wild. He brings heat from everywhere. It's interesting. And he does a lot of the stuff that the NFL is doing now where what they'll do is they'll creep somebody up to the line like they're going to blitz, and then they'll drop them back into coverage. They'll act like they're dropping them back into coverage, and then about 8 yards off the ball, they'll start their momentum going, and they will come flying in for the actual blitz. So you don't know, man. It's terrible to read for a defense. You never know where it's coming. We saw some safety blitzes, we saw some corner blitzes, and that's kind of what Patrick Toney was kind of known for. We saw some creeper stuff. We didn't get the defense that Patrick Toney ran at Louisiana, guys. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why we didn't, but we didn't. We didn't get that. He was not aggressive. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because the safeties were slow and the cornerbacks were slow that they were worried or what. I don't get it. I'll tell you another thing, guys, to be excited about is that defensive line. Boy, Banks, Jackson, Watson, Sapp. It's going to be, we actually are going to have a defensive line. When's the last good defensive line, Evil? What year do you remember that you said, wow, this is a pretty good defensive line? I'm thinking the Grenard team, maybe? Would that be right, Will? Or Evil? Yeah, it's been a while. What year was that Grenard team? Let me look it up. On real fast, guys. I'm looking it up. 2019. Let's see if I can pull up the whole defensive line. Yeah, 09. 09 was the last time you were impressed? Do you stumble and watch a lot of Florida stuff? I know you're a big OU fan, Pigskin. I bet you'll watch more now that they're going. Oklahoma's going to be. Now that Oklahoma is going to be in the SEC. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to bring up this defensive line here. Brenton Cox. Let's see. Oh, that was the year we had Carter, Slayton, Humphreys, Schuler, Dunlap, Zuniga. That was a pretty good defensive line. Yep. Yeah, that was a pretty good unit. Have you been to the Swamp yet? I can't remember if you have. Yeah, so the 2019 roster was the 2000 LSU commit wearing our gloves at a 7-on-7. Hey, we've seen that before, haven't we? Evil. Kamari McLean wearing Miami gloves. Yeah, that 2019 was, what's up, Hall of Fame? 2019 was the last time we had a defensive line that was worth anything. That was the Carter, Slayton, and you gotta do it once. You gotta go to the Swamp once. That was the Carter, Slayton, Grenard. Yeah, that D line was healthy. So I'm hoping we can get back to that. I'm hoping. I think it's one of those things where it wouldn't surprise me if. Now I don't think that we're gonna have a top 25 defense. I don't think that's possible for as bad as what we were. It's kind of like Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma's gonna have a top 25 defense. I think that's damn near impossible from what you were. I think that if you move up to a top 75, top 50 defense, well, let's say this: if Florida and Oklahoma had a top 50 defense last year, I think that most of those one-score games go away. Hall of Fame, what do you think about that? I think you win most of those one-score games. Top 50 is the goal off the bat, but if you're 60 or 70, you're not mad, right? Because you were so bad last year that I would have to say Florida at this point. They were so bad last year. Anything's going to be better when you're ranked like 126 or whatever it was. Top 50 is the goal, but I'll take 75. At 75, you're still winning a bunch of games that you didn't win last year. And we kind of talked before where I think you automatically get one win for Billy Napier and Coach Venable because the logistics of being a head coach is going to be easier. He's going to know who to call and who he can trust this year for hotel booking and all that. So I think that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize how much goes into planning and all that. So I think that's one extra win there, which everybody says that's not that big a deal, but it is. I mean, one win, a game is so hard to win. especially in the SEC. Yeah. Yeah, if Oklahoma can have a top 50, top, 60, anywhere from 75 up, you're going to win more games than what you did last year. Um, and, I think there's Hall of Fame, you played for a while. When you're winning, they say winning fixes everything. And I don't think it fixes everything, but it fixes a lot. And when you're winning, it feels like that when you get on that ride of momentum, it feels that will give you wins in itself. Right, Hall of Fame? As a player, when you guys are winning and humming along, you don't even you're really not worried about losing. It's not even in your head because you've racked up a bunch of wins in a row. So that's going to get you wins just in itself. Yeah, I saw that today too. Yep. Yeah, the schedule's pretty favorable for you guys this year. Evil, what's improvement to you though? Winning cures all. You know it. You do know it. Um, let's talk about that. And Pigskin and Hall of Fame. Just type in the one thing that you need to see. Let's talk improvements. What's one thing that you have to see? And let's not say like, oh, I need to see a top 10 defense. Like, what's one thing in particular that you need to see that you can say, okay, yeah, this program's going in the right direction. Um, I want to see. I want to see improvements. I want the stupid penalties gone. Like, how many times did we shoot ourselves in the foot last year with stupid penalties? It's and that's how you know you have a well-disciplined team is how many penalties you have. I think also I would like to see the upgrade in defensive line play because the defensive line play was terrible. Linebackers are looking good too. I'm going to say this. The only player that I really and I'm kind of upset about it. The only player I thought was going to look a little bit better was Jack Pyburn now that he's moved to kind of that end rush linebacker position. I was really excited about that. I just don't know if he has I don't know if he has the weight. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he has. Did you see that Evil? He just didn't. It didn't feel like it was very effective. Let's see. For Hall of Fame, gap discipline, and yes, absolutely, stupid penalties are a killer. Yep. It will lose you a game. I want to see. I want to have a third and long and not give it up multiple times a game. Yeah, Jesus, you talk about you want to get a fan base just absolutely fired up and ready to meet you out in the streets with pitchforks. Um, third and long. What? Who was that against? It was like third and 33 or 23, and we didn't get it done. I can't remember who that was. I wanna. I can't remember. There was so many. I'd love to see the players coming off the bench perform at a high level. That's big, Pigskin. That's a big comment there, guys. That means that you as a program are leveling you're leveling up in talent. The floor is getting higher when you do that. So you're saying you want to see a guy come off the bench, D lineman or what have you, with fresh legs, he should be making an impact. Is that what you're saying, Pigskin? Like when you rotate in a new set of D linemen and you take some of the starters out, you want to see the guys coming in with fresh legs, essentially come in and actually do something instead of waiting for the starters to get back in and waiting for them to do something. Is that what you're saying? Third and 26 against K-State. You know why you remember that, right? You remember that because it was so terrible. That's why you remember that play. Because it got you that pissed off. You might have lost some hair on that or threw something. Yep. That is. That is what that you're exactly right, Pigskin. But you got to stack the depth. You got to have depth for days. You got to have something what Chris Dorian said, SEC depth. Now, we're not talking like I remember a play. One of the Alabama receivers got hurt, and they just had a 5-star right in the pine. And he came in and put up like 150 yards. We ain't talking about that. That would be nice, but that doesn't happen a lot. We're just talking a elevation. Yeah. Yeah, Hall of Fame, that's uh that does happen sometimes. And it's inexcusable. I think that's the worst. When you know it's inexcusable, right guys? When you know that like 3rd and 26 like should never happen. I think so. I think you're right. Well, Georgia didn't miss him because TCU was kind of a fraud. I think if Ohio State made that, I think. Let's see. So, any other team named not TCU made that game, I think it would have been a better game. Truthfully. Like, even if you were able to squeak LSU or Alabama into the playoffs and they played against Georgia, I think that would be a better game. The Max Duggar TCU deal, that was I guess they just didn't have enough magic in the bottle. I don't know. The problem with TCU now is everything is suspect, right? Like everything is suspect. Like there's players that for the NFL draft, like I'm like, he's from TCU. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want a guy from TCU. And that's a shame. But you can't go out there and get dog walked like that at a national championship game. It's bad for football. But I think the playoff expansion will help that because they'll weed a team like that out pretty quick. What are your what are kind of your thoughts? Who are you guys thinking kind of puts it all together this year? I guess I'm trying to say I don't know how to word this. Who's your dark horse this year? Who's your TCU or Cincinnati this year? Yeah, it's wild. Um Colorado? Really? You're that high on Prime? I don't see it. I don't see the Colorado. They were so bad. I just don't see it. Yeah, Florida State is interesting as a Florida fan. They could do it. I had Holly on a couple months ago. I'm gonna have him back on. I think that the biggest thing with Florida State is I don't know if their quarterback Jordan Travis can stay healthy. He gets hurt every year, and he's the whole team. He's essentially the Max Duggar. You know, he's the whole team because they are not good without him. Yep. Oklahoma could be. Texas could be. Can FSU stop anyone? I don't know. I don't know if they can. Hold on real fast. Yeah, you did. All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. I don't know. Sark just doesn't do it for me. I don't think he's a winner. I don't think he's a gamer. Truthfully, you gotta. I just. Yeah, I'm kind of on the Hall of Fame thing with Sark. I just don't think FSU is interesting. Why FSU is interesting is they essentially they essentially they bring back everybody. Okay, guys, and then they go and reload at the in the transfer portal because God knows they can't recruit. We all know that. They can't recruit high school talent. They get in the transfer portal, which is fine. Nobody's ever won a national championship on that kind of scheme on how to do that. But I don't know. I think that it's possible FSU makes a playoff run if Jordan Travis doesn't get hurt. If all the stars align, I think that. Now, do they have enough firepower to beat Alabama? I don't know. I don't know if they do, and they always struggle against. They always seem to struggle against Wake Forest too. So there is that. But I think that definitely. LSU. Didn't they lose their quarterback though? I think. Can somebody find out that if LSU lost their quarterback, if they have to go get a new quarterback this year? LSU could be interesting. I don't. He is back. Ugh. I think. Let's kind of dissect that real fast. LSU, can they make it? I'm gonna look up their schedule. See what kind of gauntlet they're going through here. All right. So off the bat, we have. Let me do this. Let me just share screen. So it looks like they have LSU, Florida State first. That's going to be the first. So it's going to be LSU, Florida State right off the bat. Man, that's interesting. You think Brian Kelly's underrated? I think he's a sleazeball. I don't like him. I don't know what just happened. That was wild. Um, let's see. All right, so we got LSU, Florida State right off the rip. Going to be a tough game. It's a 50-50 game to me. I think it's a neutral site game. I'm not 100% sure. Bro, that is funny. Me too. Then they have Grambling, which is a nobody. Um, at home. Then they have to go to Mississippi State. We don't know what kind of team we're getting from Mississippi State with the new head coach, but always a tough place to play with them stupid ass cowbells. Then they have Arkansas at home. I think they get the win on Arkansas. They have Mississippi at Mississippi. I don't think that's a big deal. Here it is. Here's a lose game that you could possibly lose. That's going to be noon kickoff Missouri at Missouri, because Missouri always plays at noon and they will wreck your life. Then they have Auburn at home. I don't see that being an issue. Army at home, I don't really see that being an issue, but you never know with Army. They're kind of like Mizzou, so they got 2 trap games there. I think these 2 games are definitely trap games. Then they have Alabama at Alabama. Then they have Florida at home, Georgia State, and then Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M's not going to do anything. I wouldn't be. I don't know if they can afford to fire Jimbo, but they probably can. They got that big money. I don't know. I'm not believing in Texas A&M. So I mean, as we look at this schedule, guys, do we still think LSU can make it to the playoffs? Arkansas is a trap game, so they got 3 trap games. Do we still think it's possible? Let's say they beat Florida State early. Okay? They get a Grambling win. They get a win at Mississippi State, which is a team that nobody really knows anything about, which is scary. Arkansas's a trap game. They get the win at Ole Miss. And then Missouri's always a trap game. And I'm saying you probably have a loss here. This is going to be I guess if they beat Alabama, that would be that would be defining. I'm going to put an L here for Florida because they always have our number, it seems like. Unfortunately, Will can agree on that, or Evil can agree on that. The Georgia State game is easy in Texas A&M, so possibly. So you get a loss here. You get So you got 3 trap games, and I don't think a 2-loss team can get into the playoffs. I don't see that. So, I don't know. It's interesting when you break down the schedule. You're like, oh yeah, I think this team can win go to the playoffs, and you look at their schedule and you're like, oof, that's pretty rough. Let's see what old Florida State is. A lot of people think Florida State can do it. Let me share it. All right, so we have the Florida LSU game right off the bat, which we say is 50-50. Southern Miss, they'll beat Southern Miss. Boston College, I think they can beat Boston College. Clemson is unknown. That's a 50-50 game. Let me... Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke. Wake Forest is a trap game for them. Pittsburgh, it's at Pittsburgh. It's going to be cold. That's going to be a tough one. If Florida State does not beat Miami, then, yeah, weird stuff does happen during the Florida LSU game. And then they have to come to the Swamp and play at the Swamp this year. I like this schedule compared to LSU's, guys. I think this is a more winnable schedule. You got LSU early. You can beat them early, then you're off to a good start. You beat a good program early. They're going to be ranked in the preseason polls. I think that this is definitely winnable. You have Clemson early. Maybe Clemson isn't. I can't. With Clemson, they got to get a quarterback. I don't really know what they're doing. Let's see. So, Clemson pending a quarterback. I mean, I don't see any other teams that are going to beat them on here, minus you get beat in a kind of a fluky weather game at Pittsburgh. And then this game, Florida State, throw the records away. It's always close. But I could see this a one-loss team more than what I could see LSU just because of the schedule. Who has a QB? Clemson? Because DJ Aluga or whatever, he wasn't the answer. Syracuse always plays them hard. Yeah. It's at Florida State, though. It's not at Syracuse, so that helps. Wake Forest always plays them pretty tough, too. But, yeah, this is definitely a way easier schedule. And I think this is kind of what we were talking about on why we think that, Florida State could make it to the playoffs because of the schedule. Right, guys? The schedule is very favorable. Oh, Cade Klubnik. We'll see. They got to show me. I don't watch a lot of Clemson football. They're kind of boring to me. It's like one of those teams. Like I probably should watch them, but you guys have a team that you probably should watch, but is just boring to you. Clemson's that for me. I just really don't like watching them. Probably like it's probably like when you watch Okie Light. Interesting. Yeah, that's true. They usually do have a pretty good defense. Really? Bobby P. Did Okie Light have a spring game? Did they finally do that? Is that what I saw on Twitter? I wonder what time that if Clemson actually has they got Cade they got Cade Klubnik, and if they got a good defense, that might be a game to watch. What time do you think that thing's gonna be? Think that's gonna be a night game? Oh, a meet and greet. Well, I don't know if you guys watched what Miami did for a scrimmage, but that could have been a meet and greet also. That shit was terrible to watch. Yeah, and there was nobody there for Miami, which doesn't surprise you. Yeah, that I mean that might be a one to circle and watch, guys. And truthfully, like, we like our teams, right? We love seeing a Florida win or Oklahoma win or what have you. But truthfully, what we really like is college football, right? And there's the call-in link there. Sorry, guys. What we really like, night game at Death Valley, tough matchup. Yeah, it is. It's got to be a night game. They like playing those. Yeah, we all love college football. Like, I'm the guy that's in the garage because I work nights. I watch it all. I'll watch it from the noon kickoff till I'll watch it all the way up until Montana versus Montana State. I don't give a shit. A late kick Hawaii game, that's my stuff there. Or a Boise State game. A late kick Boise State, I love that. It's yeah, I guess we all wouldn't be here talking about college football if we didn't love it, right? But I just like good games. So, I think I'm going to circle this Florida State Clemson game. I might TiVo it or something if it's the same time as what the Gators game is. I do that sometimes. You watch XFL? Oh, I can't do that. No. NFL's enough for me. Let's see here. Bring up. Let's see what old Alabama has for a schedule. Just kind of curious. What's up, Bubba?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, good.
No, I love college football, brother. Love it.
I had to change the day to today because I had a tree almost fall on my garage.
Yeah, you were telling me that last. What the hell did you do? You just
We
cut it
just
down and it just got out of hand, or what?
yeah, no. It had a really tall limb overhead, and it started to rot away. So I had to get the 4-wheeler winch hooked up to it. My uncle had to bring the tractor over. I mean, it looked like a full construction site over here. And then once you get the chainsaw out, then you have to touch up all the trees because they all look like they got a limb or two that needs to be taken care of. So
yeah.
I spent all yesterday out in the yard. I had to cut the grass. I had to weed eat. It was just
Yeah, you should blow that picture up a little bit, man. It's hard to see.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how to do that here.
Just go up to the 3 dots if you're on Chrome, and you can blow it up. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. Oh, they play nobody. That's typical. Alabama.
Yeah, they don't play
Middle. How do you even get a Middle Tennessee?
And he complains, dude. I mean, I have respect for Saban, but I get sick and tired of his whiny bitch stuff. It's stupid.
That's the same Middle Tennessee, though, guys, that beat Miami.
Yeah.
Could be 2 years in a row. That won't happen against Saban. All right, so they have Texas, Alabama. I don't see Texas winning that.
mean, here's the thing about Texas is that Quinn looked really good yesterday. I watched them too. He looked really good, their quarterback. But the thing we were talking about, Sark, is that the dude's never won 10 games, never. And I think that without Patterson there, because Patterson left the program, there's the opening that he could come back sometime. But I feel like he's waiting to see Sark fall on his face and maybe he gets the job.
I feel like the guy just doesn't.
No, dude, he can't make in-game adjustments. He doesn't.
Yeah,
he can come out with a game plan that's going to help. And like the first year that he was there, they lost 6 games in a row with the lead at halftime.
How's that happen?
mean, I don't know. I mean, when one of them was the Red River game, they were up 28-3. You know, at some point.
Miami is straight. They are dog dookie. What do you think about that? Did you see that scrimmage of Miami?
I caught it at the very end, man. I didn't.
They were giving away points for turnovers, sacks.
Oh yeah.
They were like giving
so that it looked real.
Yeah.
Competitive.
Yeah, and then at one point, Mario Cristobal didn't let the D line rush.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that right now I still think they're probably a year away. I do believe in the Cristobal a little more than you do, but
okay,
but I definitely get what you're saying.
As a football player, like, doesn't that just look bad for a culture standpoint?
You know, I mean, there's what is culture there? Their culture hasn't been good since he played there. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. I agree with you. I just think that it's a tough situation.
Okay.
And the whole deal with the release,
can I ask you this?
Are they in trouble or what? I mean, are they going to even be able to pay for their freaking?
They're in deep shit.
Yeah,
they're in real big deep shit. Okay, let's take Miami, guys, and let's say it's not Miami. Let's say it's OU that did that. How would you feel?
Did what?
That point system.
I don't really care about what they do at a spring game. If that's his way of like keeping it competitive and making it to where he feels like everybody's kind of doing their thing, I don't really care about that. I mean, it's a freaking scrimmage. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's to me, I really don't.
But then you're not.
That's necessary. I mean, I know it's not exactly. But I have heard of that before. I mean, I don't think it's something that you see a lot of, but I could see it. I understand what they were doing.
Not your cup of tea.
I just don't know that they got players. I just don't think they have the players. Yeah, I don't know that they have those guys yet. And he ran off a bunch of dudes, you know. I did see his interview last night. He was saying that by the time the season rolls around, they're expecting to play a lot in the portal again. I mean, so we're going to see where they end up with that.
Yeah, they just lost a couple last night too. It opened today.
Yeah, and so my thought is that okay, so we'll see what happens because you've got Bear he left Georgia. He can't go to a SEC team, so he could end up a place like I could see him going after that guy.
Why can't he?
Huh?
Why can't he?
That's just what they were saying on. I want to say I saw that on ESPN. I don't know why he can't, but it doesn't make sense to me. He's a freshman. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Maybe would he have to sit out? Maybe no.
They said he would have to sit out a year if he went to an SEC team. Where the hell did I see that? I don't know.
Wonder has he transferred before?
Huh?
Has he transferred before?
No, but I don't know if it has something to do with the way he had because he was committed to A&M, I think, and he decommitted from A&M and Georgia at one point, and then he ended up at Georgia. So I don't know what the whole deal is. I mean, that's a good question why he can't, but apparently Riley's all over him, and I think OU is making a big push for him also. They're trying to put the money together to get him, I guess. But I don't know. I don't understand why in the world you would even think about going to LA to get underdeveloped by Grinch. Why? You know,
Yeah, I feel like he needs to go to
unless
like
they dumped a fat lump of cash in his pocket,
hey,
which I don't doubt. I don't doubt. You know, Lincoln's a slimy little bastard, so I can see it.
yeah, and that's only one player. That's not gonna make or break your whole team. But I
No,
I
but
just
but it
I
would help him. It would definitely help because he's a. I mean, we're talking 6'5", 300. You know,
yeah.
and he had a bit. He had a sack of the national championship game. He looked good. He was behind their main player, but he still had a good year. You know,
I kind of I wonder why he's leaving.
yeah, me too, man. I think something's up there. But here's the thing about Georgia though is they've got 3 or 4 other guys that are right there. You know, same size, same. Everything. I mean, Kirby, they've got a freaking embarrassment of riches when it comes to defensive players, no doubt.
Yeah,
Before they lost all those guys to the first round, and then they still
but
were
they
unbelievable on defense.
let's see what I kind of want to see what comes out of this transfer time. This you know what I mean? Because it's odd. You didn't see a lot of Georgia players transferring out, even the first round. So
Right.
I don't know what could have happened from then to now for him to transfer out, especially a guy that played in a national. I mean, he's got a national championship ring. You know what I mean? It's just I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I don't.
maybe it's got to be money, don't you think? Don't you think it's got to be money? Here's the
Or
thing, and this is what I'm going to say.
or he got in trouble, and
That's
Kirby said,
possible.
"You're no longer on the team. You got to find a new
But he
team."
didn't. But he didn't say that last night, man. After the game, after their practice, after their scrimmage,
Would Kirby?
he just said that you know, he didn't get too far into it. Really, he was just like, well, there's a lot of competition here for spots, and we wish him the best, and that was it. Yeah, there always were injuries and not prepared. I know what he was talking about on the Oregon thing, and I would tend to agree with that. I've got a friend who's a big Oregon fan. He follows them, goes and watches them play at least 3 or 4 times a year, and he said the same thing. He said he liked Mario a lot, but that he was concerned about there was some the health and fitness wasn't as great.
I asked this. Why do you leave Oregon?
Oh, well, they obviously made the investment in the program, though. That was the thing, is they had money invested in the program because and he said that the only way he was going was if they made the investments that he needed them to make, because otherwise there was no reason for him to leave because he had everything he needed right at Oregon.
But why leave?
Because it's his alma mater. He played there. They were calling him home.
I kind of feel like
it's a stupid move for a lot of people.
Tell me if I'm off.
You should never go home, really. If you're winning somewhere else and it's a bad situation there, like it's been in Miami for as long as it has, that's a risky ass move, man. That could be the end of your career.
Do you think Ruiz promised him a bunch of shit and now it's folding out?
I think Ruiz promised him the world. They were supposed to build him a new stadium, all that stuff. I don't know if that's happening now.
Yeah. So essentially, Ruiz goes in. Miami's tired of losing, right? And they say, "Who can we get?" And they see Mario is.
I think Mario's a good coach. I don't think that he's a bad coach, but I don't think.
Yeah, he's successful at Oregon, and they say, "Let's see if we can get Mario." And Mario says, "I need money for infrastructure." Ruiz says, "Buddy, I got more money than God. Come back down here to Coral Gables and let's win some natties like back in the day."
Yeah, there's always.
Do you think that's what?
That's the thing. I don't know that just because he filed bankruptcy doesn't mean he's broke. It just depends on
Yeah, but if Life Wallet folds, then those players don't get paid.
There's the thing. Those dudes get, when you're rich like that, you're a billionaire, you've got your hand in a lot of cookie jars, bro. It's not just like
I'm not saying he's broke either. I'm saying if the company folds, Life Wallet Sports folds, then they wouldn't get paid. You can't get paid from a company.
No, I know that. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think that, like I said, you don't know what the bankruptcy could be, restructuring. There's different ways that they do bankruptcy in business, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're folding. It could just mean that they're going to restructure the way they're doing things.
I think it's
it sounded to me like it was kind of a Ponzi scheme anyway.
Well, yeah.
I to hear about it, so I don't know, man. It's a good question. It's a good question.
He is selling stuff off, but that right. doesn't always mean you're broke either. I mean, right. my grandfather's a self-made millionaire, and he sells shit off all the time.
Yeah, man, it happens. And
sometimes you have to term some of your.
Donald Trump's been broke a bunch of times, and he gets rich again. You know what I mean? And he don't have the kind of money that Ruiz had.
Yeah, sometimes you have to turn your liquid into cash in a business.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if it's that. What is interesting is this whole tax thing. Did you see that?
No.
Essentially, he has not filed his taxes for Life Wallet. The company hasn't done their taxes, and they're like way overdue. Like they're hiding them from the IRS. And I'm going to tell you this. The IRS isn't a Miami fan. The IRS isn't a Florida fan. The IRS is not a Texas fan. The IRS is not an OU
Ron DeSantis isn't necessarily just going to allow them to go in there and freaking do anything to those guys. You know, the states still do have powers in certain instances like that.
But I tell you what the IRS is going to do. They will send a team of forensic investigators in there, and they will make his life hell. It's called an audit. And if anybody has been audited before, it's a real pain in the ass.
Brutal.
They will find every dime you've ever spent and question you on it. So, I don't know. It's a good way. You know what is a good way to get the IRS into your program is not file your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's not going to affect the University of Miami, but it's going to affect.
Well, and that's the thing is Miami has money anyway, right? I mean, it's not like it's a broke school.
No, that's just their main booster.
Yeah, I mean that's, but still, I mean, to me, I don't think that Ruiz is the end all be all for that program though either. I mean, I think that he was the main guy that was dumping cash in it, but I don't think that I think that if they can show that they're gonna, win some games and stuff like that. And look, sometimes it's like I said about Oklahoma, you got to break some eggs to make an omelet. So you're going to have to get rid of some of those guys. And, you got to bring in your own guys. Now,
but it could be worse next year.
I don't think that this season is probably the season for Miami. I don't think that, obviously it's a different situation than Oklahoma's in, but Oklahoma had to flip over 80% of its freaking roster from the year Lincoln left. And we're just going to find out,
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out, but they've got a favorable schedule. They've got a veteran quarterback. They've used the portal.
He didn't look their veteran quarterback did not look great yesterday.
Who's that? Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about Oklahoma, but I was saying Oklahoma has a veteran quarterback and a favorable schedule. They could win. Miami, I haven't seen their schedule.
Here it is.
Yeah, see, so A&M, do you trust them to beat them? No. They should have beaten them in freaking College Station last year.
He is loud, though. Schedule. I think that's why everybody wants to see Ruiz fail, is he's so loud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got an easy schedule.
Miami fans are. That's all they got is loud right now. They haven't done shit in 20 years.
Yeah, they're irrelevant. Yeah. You don't trust Texas A&M to beat them?
No, dude. I think that what I was saying. Jimbo, he was letting Petrino call the plays. but he was all in there. Cool. He was standing right behind the freaking offense the entire time and getting in the face of the quarterback for everything. And it just, to me, I think it's a dumpster. It's freaking Texas A&M, bro. It's what they do. They screw it all up.
What do you think they fire him?
It's
a lot of
money. The thing is, it's a lot of money. They still owe him, as of now, until this season's over. They're still going to owe him $80 million.
That's like more than the Pac-12 TV deal.
Right.
See what I did there?
I do. That's hilarious. The Pac. Yeah, did they get a deal? Did they announce a deal?
No, they didn't announce a deal.
No, but that's probably about right.
I was just poking the bear, you know.
Yeah. That's a joke. The whole thing is such a joke, dude.
Oh man. Crap. I mean, they got a winnable schedule. I think the only teams that I see that could be tough is UNC, Clemson,
Louisville, maybe.
Louisville's building something. Mm-hmm. Have you seen what they've been doing in recruiting?
Dude, they're killing it in recruiting. I think there's some
I don't get it
around down there somewhere too.
Yeah, there's a lot of
they got a lot of like that Yum money, don't they, down there in that area?
Louisville's about 2 hours. Truthfully, Louisville's one of my favorite cities to go visit. Yeah, it's
cool place, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's 2.5 hours away from me. It's not as expensive as Nashville, Tennessee, and you still get that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's definitely some money down there. Mm-hmm. Now it's not as deep as Miami, but I don't know, man. They're building something.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not the biggest ACC guy right now. I think the ACC is in trouble. If ESPN needs to find a way to keep their relevant teams relevant, because if they don't, they're just going to end up losing a lot of those teams. And if you can't allow Miami and Florida State to get to the Big Ten, because right now, Florida, ESPN essentially owns the state of Florida, and they don't want to lose the state of Florida. So I would get Florida State, Miami, Carolina up, Clemson up to that number where you're close enough to where you can continue to compete with the SEC in the Big Ten.
So I had Holly on last month, and he's right when this broke. Guy, yeah, and he's very knowledgeable about stuff like that. And I think the biggest gripe he was saying was that Florida State and Clemson essentially produce like 80% of the profit.
Yes.
And they're still getting paid like Miami, you know.
But that's like that in every conference, though, Cody. It's like that in every conference. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas have freaking generated more than half of the freaking income for the entire conference for the entirety of the freaking time the Big 12 has been a thing.
Well, I think the biggest thing, though, is once you say you do give Florida State, and say if you could only pay two, I would have to pick Florida State and Clemson to keep in the conference, right?
Of course.
Miami hasn't been really relevant. I think they have a
Carolina's a blue blood too when it comes to basketball, and you think that they won't jump ship immediately?
Yeah, you really can't lose them. So.
And I don't really think that you can afford to lose Miami either. The market itself is why you have to.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of watchers.
It's not about the program and how good it is. It's about the market. And
yeah,
Miami is a major market, a major media market.
There may not be anybody in that stadium to watch the Miami game, but I have a feeling
on television.
Yeah, it does pretty good television wise.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The whole deal about Miami and the whole deal about the whole conference. The relevance is, are you watching them on Saturday night when they play in Death Valley or they play down in Tallahassee? Yes, you're watching them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the rest of the season you might not, but I mean, to me, I feel like you have to, and they have 13 years left on that deal. They got to pay those dudes. They got to find a way.
But
because otherwise it's going to end up in court and it's going to be ugly, and they're going to get out because they have to. It's just that deal was good for ESPN, and it's probably still really good for ESPN. But that's why they can afford to do it, is because they have it on such a cheap deal for 13 more years. Yet they own the SEC and they own freaking Big 12 now. I mean, they own everything but the Big 10 pretty much.
But I ask this: if you had to lose one, who would you lose? Florida State or Miami?
Oh, I think that you would probably lose. I hate to say Florida State, but the media market size probably there. You know what I mean? Because Miami's Miami.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I don't think if you're talking about, strength of the program, of course it's not Miami, but
You're talking money wise.
I'm talking, yes,
Views.
and what you can do. Yes, of course you could. And the bottom line is that these television guys are thinking about media size. Now, what's compelling and what makes the game, I could also, argue that the other way, because what's compelling about college football? We just all said we love college football, right?
Yeah,
What's the most compelling thing about college football?
winning.
Yes, and rivalries,
Yeah.
big games. So if Miami's not going to put up a fight and be relevant in that stand, and where you even have an opportunity to beat somebody like Clemson or Florida State, then yes, it's obviously Florida State. But my thought is that right now they own the entire state of Florida. UCF is in the Big 12, which they're going to get most of their games too. You don't want Fox in there in Florida. You don't. Period. So you need to pay them all. You need to pay them all. You need to pay all those 4 programs off.
And they got the money.
Get them up there. Yes, they got the money. Get them up there. Even if they're not at the same amount, you need to get them close.
I see what you're saying.
If it's 80 million for everybody in the SEC, you need to get them to 70.
We talk about rivalries, but I don't understand the why does Florida and Miami not play?
I don't know about that. That's I thought you guys would know that better than me.
You know what I mean?
What is going on with that? Why don't they play anymore?
Well, we're playing in 2024, but I don't know how you fit them in with the new SEC pod scheduling.
It's surprising. Yeah, I would shoot. Well, I think that
wouldn't you want to kind of promote the King of Florida?
Yeah,
because Florida.
Again, this is why you can, if you're ESPN, you can make that happen if you keep them in the ACC. Where you can work that game out. Because you don't want them going to the Big Ten. And my thought is, I feel like if you do that to Florida State, Miami, and Clemson's probably still going to end up in the SEC no matter what. But I could see Florida State, and I mean, look at all the years of Florida State. Coach Bowden was like, "Why would we go to the SEC? We play in the Orange Bowl every year."
Yeah.
Why? Why would we do that? Now, same thing. Why do you have to go run that gauntlet when you can go run in the Big Ten? Because you're academically sound enough to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, we've talked about this. I don't think that the academics is as big a thing as everybody acts like it is. At least as far as, but they're both AAU programs. They're both all that kind of stuff. So they fit in there that way. And I think that they know that you have a better opportunity. But if what I was getting at is that right now ESPN has, you're probably going to get when the playoff goes to 12, you're probably going to get 2 ACC in the years that they're really good, right? Some years you may just get 1, but you're probably going to get 2. You're going to get 2 out of the Big 12 sometimes. Might get 1, but could get 2. Then you're probably going to get 3 or 4 out of the SEC. So now you're looking at 7, 8 playoff teams. That's big money in your pocket if you're ESPN. Why would you let them leave anywhere? Because you're guaranteed that you're going to get somebody in. If those guys get away from the ACC, the ACC dies just like the Pac-12, and now you don't have playoff teams. It just doesn't make sense to me to do it that way. I wouldn't let them go.
I almost feel like that the Florida, because Miami plays Florida State every year,
right?
and Florida
Right.
State plays Florida every year, I kind of feel like there's something. It's not TV though. I almost wonder if Miami doesn't.
There's a lot of real little political things that happen between universities like that in states like Florida. I could see that.
You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm trying to dig at here? Do
Oh
you
yeah,
think
a lot of
possibly
money
that?
competing, a lot of competing money, a lot of stuff
Yeah,
going on.
and
Yeah,
it's like
that's
one of
probably
those
political.
things. Maybe like Miami doesn't want to play Florida every year.
Right. I'm here. I'm just gonna give this dog some water.
Oh, you're good. And so maybe it's one of those things. Evil, what do you think? What do you think it is? Why do you think that Miami won't play Florida every year? Or maybe it's Florida doesn't want to play Miami every year. We don't know. Maybe they think, well, you guys are a dumpster fire, but it'd be better than playing Washington State. Like, why are you not making that game happen if you're a college football lover? I don't really get it. I don't get that. So,
Yeah, it's the same thing with Okie Light choosing not to play Oklahoma anymore.
they chose not to?
Yeah, we're not playing them again at all after this season. It'll be over.
Why?
Because they couldn't make it work logistically.
You're like 90 miles away.
Yeah.
It's not that far, is it?
It's 80 miles, yeah.
You can't travel 80 miles?
No, it's because Mike Gundy is sick of getting his ass kicked.
Oh, you think it's Gundy?
Yeah. It's all it is, man. It's all it is. It's look.
Oh, they tell us it's us, Evil. Miami says it's Florida. We won't play them. Don't surprise me. I mean, for Miami, it's not counterproductive because they know they can't beat us every year. So it might be that Oklahoma.
Yeah, and they can't get out of playing Florida State because they're in the ACC.
Well, I bet they wish they would, because you know what's real funny is when a Miami fan says anything about anything and Florida State pulls the score up. It's like, yeah, you lose all credibility when that happens, right? So, if Miami were to lose to Florida and Florida State, the fans wouldn't be able to take it. The
thing is, Miami has a good record against Florida State, though. I mean, they've all those years that freaking Bowden couldn't beat them. They'd lose, they'd miss a damn field goal or something.
Yeah,
forever it was like that. It was.
Yeah, but I don't think.
I know it's not the same thing now, but and again, I wouldn't go on thinking that Miami's going to stay irrelevant. I just don't think that that's the case. There's enough people that want them to matter.
How many years does Cristobal have?
Well, that's the question. I think that's the question there. Is that how long do you give him? They didn't give what's his name the time that they probably should have. Manny. They should have probably given him a little more time. I think that when you're trying to go get your A-list coach, which I guess Cristobal falls under that A-lister because he's won everywhere he's been. But when you're trying to do that, then that's when you know that you have less time. I think that he probably gets a little more time. But then again, if he's at the whim of all these boosters, who's to say? Because they're finicky, man. It's like Texas. Look, if Sark doesn't win 9 at least this year, I think they're going to fire his ass. Because there's no reason he shouldn't win 10, 11 even.
You're saying after they've dumped all that money into the team, the Texas boosters. So it essentially the same people that brought you in
will fire your ass. Yes,
will fire you if you're not
that way, dude. It's like the mafia, bro. The people that are your friends are the ones that shoot you in the head.
Yeah,
you
can't trust boosters.
That's right.
And if Ruiz if Mario Cristobal is in bed with Ruiz,
yeah, which he has to be. Come on,
yeah, it could be bad.
You just don't know. It just and you got to wait and see kind of what happens.
I don't feel that way for Napier and
you don't think that Napier's on a short lease too, though,
and Venable. No, I don't think it's. I don't think.
I'm going to tell you now. If Brent Venables doesn't win 9 games this year, his seat will get warm. Very warm.
Do you think the OU boosters have pull like that? I just it
There are
doesn't
some,
feel.
yes,
Do you see what?
there's
Do you see what
always,
I'm
they're
saying?
just not as loud as some of these other programs. They're not like Texas, but I'm going to tell you, the OU fan base is crazy.
I
They
get
were
they're
calling for
crazy.
his, they were calling for his head at game 4
Um,
after they lost 3 in a row. They were calling for his head
I'm
in year 1, and I mean, fans are idiots. There's no two
I
ways around it. But
I'm a Florida fan. We do the same shit, right?
idiots, right? Yeah. But listen, it gets loud at some point, very loud, and then it becomes, okay, are you going to put people in the stands? Are you going to, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things. It's not, people act like fans don't have any power. They do. If they stop going and watching the product, then you have to get rid of the guy.
Yeah.
You know?
I just don't feel when you feel like the programs that are ran by boosters. You Florida and Oklahoma don't come
They're
to
not that. No, I'm not saying
they
that.
don't come to head. When you feel that, I feel that's USC, Texas, Miami, Texas A&M, and Oregon.
Yeah, well, Oregon's run by a
Uh,
booster.
Ohio State. Ohio State also, I feel, is that way. Where
Yeah, dude. Hey, listen, Ryan Day was in the playoff. If they don't win something soon, I think they fire him.
Ryan Day,
I think they wanted
he
him
just made a
gone last
playoff
year.
game.
I don't care.
He had Georgia on the ropes. The only reason Ohio State lost that game is because of the illegal hit to Marvin Harris Jr.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but okay, but here's the deal. When you lose to your biggest rival at home and you don't just get beat, you get your ass kicked. Right? And you've got that kind of, and they can't put a defense together there. That's the deal. Getting to the playoff is one thing, but you get housed when you get there. I mean, they haven't been able to beat Clemson. Clemson's got them little brothered.
Yeah,
they've had them little brothered.
But Michigan has built.
I think Ohio State is a paper champion, man. I do.
This is my thing about the Ohio State Michigan team. Ohio State builds a team to win a national championship. Michigan builds a team to beat Ohio State.
I agree with Evil what he's saying there. He's saying that he's on more of a hot seat than Napier is. I would just, from what I can tell from the outside, because I'm not inside. I mean, I know more about Florida the last month or so.
Ooh, Ryan Day?
Yes, but I damn sure think that Ryan Day.
How do you fire a coach that just took you to the playoffs?
Because they don't care
because you
about
lose to
going
Michigan
to the
2 years in a row.
Yes.
What? Now say that out loud.
Dude, I'm telling you, look at how Michigan was. They went through freaking coaches left and right that couldn't beat Ohio State.
Well, Harbaugh's on the hot seat every other year, I feel like.
Right. If he hadn't beaten Ohio State 2 years ago, they fire his ass.
That's so wild to me. Do these people not understand how hard it is to make a college football playoff?
Crazy. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to Ohio State fans and Michigan fans, they're insane. And Michigan hasn't won anything. But they still haven't won anything. They've won the Big Ten. Whoopty freaking crap. The Big Ten is a dumpster fire aside from those two programs. Watch though. Luke Fickell is going to have Wisconsin right in the mix there.
My dad's a alum, and he is. My dad's never been one of those guys to watch recruiting, and watch podcasts on Wisconsin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's daily. He's sending me stuff. It's like, oh, look who we got. Look who we got.
We
got a cornerback out of Florida.
Yep, they got that quarterback that was at Oklahoma last year too, and I mean that's Nick Evers. He didn't really get a shot, but you want to talk about a kid with a big arm, and he's going to a guy like Phil Longo. I mean, that offense is going to be real.
Yeah, it ain't going to be like what we watched for the last 20 years.
Oh no! That smash mouth Ron Dane stuff, that shit ain't going to happen no more.
Nope.
No, and Evil. See, look, he even said it is crazy. You're right. The whole thing is crazy. College football is crazy. But when it comes to those two programs, and particularly
Who's running Ohio State? The Boosters?
yeah, I mean, yeah. Listen, there's a lot of money there. Think about it. And I mean, there's a lot of, and it's Columbus, Ohio, for God's sake.
It's the premier school in the Midwest. And I've said this over and over and over. You can look at the recruiting of high schools here. If a kid is offered,
how do you get guys from everywhere to go to freaking Columbus, Ohio?
It's the brand.
Exactly. But
well, in the Midwest,
you're going to a playoff. That's the whole thing. Going to the playoff doesn't matter that much anymore to them.
So
they want to win.
Essentially, if Ryan Day
getting their ass kicked every time they go, except for the first one, and that was not Ryan Day.
You're telling me that Ryan Day, if he loses to Michigan this year and wins a national championship, that's the only way to save his seat?
If he wins, if he loses to Michigan, he doesn't go to the national championship again. There's no way. There's no way they get two teams in again. No way they get in two teams.
What happens if it's one loss and Michigan has several losses?
Oh, well, then they could still win the Big Ten? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they could. But you think they're going to win the national championship?
I don't know. I don't count them out. They just made the playoffs.
But their quarterback, they got a new quarterback now?
I don't care. They
are loaded in the receiver room, but you got to play defense, and they haven't figured that part out. Now,
yeah,
they Jim Knowles, but he hasn't been able to recreate it yet.
In Ohio State, when they were winning national championships, they always had a good defense.
Yeah, but I would say that this is Jim Knowles' second year there. It's not like they're bereft of talent.
That is so wild. To fire a coach because he can't beat one team, that is building a team. That is building a team.
And I don't think Lincoln's worth the shit, and this guy's worse. I'm sorry.
Ooh, Ryan Day?
Yes.
Well, we all know who's doing all the recruiting there.
Yeah, Larry Johnson.
What's his name? Heartline.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, well, hey, listen. But he's not going to win. He's not going to get the head coaching job. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying
there's talk to him leaving.
I'm saying that they're talking about it could be. Yeah, if he loses both, he won't have to pack his stuff. It'll be on the lawn. Yeah.
You think they're that big of a savage,
brother? Yeah. Look,
Flightline. Who got fired on the Flightline?
That was SC. That was Stark.
Oh, Sark got fired.
No, it was
Kiffin.
Kiffin got it on the tarmac. Yeah.
What's up, Hank?
Hankster, my dude.
We're Hank. We're talking about the craziness of Ohio State firing Ryan Day if he loses to Michigan again. Evil says yes too. Evil says it's gonna happen. They will fire his ass on the Flightline if he loses to Michigan in a pathetic way like he lost this last year.
Listen, man, he lost by 3 touchdowns in the big house. Or I mean in the shoe. The big house, the shoe.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to kick the hornet's nest, right?
I'm telling you, I was looking at message boards and Twitter after that.
They're that fanatical.
Insanity, bro. Insanity. They were calling for, I mean, you're talking about their quarterback. And I think their quarterback is pretty good. I don't think he's as great as everybody else did, but I think he was good.
Stroud,
they were killing Stroud. They were killing Stroud. They were killing Ryan Day. And it was brutal. They're a touch unstable, Hank says. A touch, yeah, just a bit.
What would you say they're the most unstable in college football, Hank? Out of every program out there?
Close, man. But there's a few of these.
I think CJ Stroud.
There's 3 or 4 of these programs that are very, very similar.
I think CJ Stroud.
I think OU's right there with them.
Might be. I think CJ Stroud might be the only guarantee.
Texas, yes.
Pick. Yeah. You think Texas is more unstable than Ohio State mentally?
When it comes to I can tell you what. When it comes to their boosters, they're absolutely. Easily right there.
Really?
Yeah. Look they fired Mac Brown 2 years after he almost won another national championship.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Mullen
It
got
was their
fired.
most successful time since Darryl Royal, who, by the way, was an Oklahoma guy. But
They got vocal boosters. Yeah.
yeah.
The Ohio State thing is kind of, the Ryan Day thing is a head scratcher.
I don't think he's that good though. What has he done? He can put he can put offenses out there. What you have to win, and you got to remember that he's been winning. Yeah, I know he's won a bunch, and he's been to the playoffs a couple of times.
But he's not
When
really
he gets
playing
there,
anybody.
when he gets there, they're not playing anybody to get there. Number one, and number two, when they get there, Clemson kicks their ass.
Yeah.
You know,
so you almost feel like it's a TCU type deal every year as a booster for them.
TCU. Hey, listen, man. TCU had a great year, and they earned their spot. Were they ready for Georgia? No. But look at that. They beat freaking Michigan, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane, dude.
No, if Hartline leaves for another job, I think that train goes off the rails extremely fast because now Ohio State will not be able to recruit the way that they are recruiting.
But is that real? I mean, Hartline hadn't been there forever. They've recruited fine.
So you're saying that they've had?
I think their receiver room is insane because of Brian Hartline. I don't think that that's the case everywhere else.
Okay.
I think they still recruit fine. I'm not. I think that I don't know that Brian Hartline's a huge freaking. I think that a lot of times it's easy to get that thought rolling around in your head, and saying, "Hey, this, you got," because you're thinking about the now, and he has built that receiver room into.
Yeah, but was it
untouchable? Yeah, it hasn't won shit. Do they see Hartline as the future Penn State? Because I haven't heard that. I keep hearing that it's like that. I mean, nobody thinks he's a head coach.
Here's the thing, you can't have that happen. Ohio State's got to have a guy.
Yeah, I think they probably go the other way. They've had two offensive dudes now in a row.
Okay, so who do you get? Let's say Ohio State comes out and fires Ryan Day because a scandal came out tomorrow. Who do you go and get?
I think they probably go after Luke Fickell again.
But he just signed a big contract with Wisconsin.
So?
You think he'll leave in the middle of...
He went to Ohio State, bro. Yeah.
But they could have had him, but they refused to.
Or maybe Marcus from Notre Dame.
I could see that. Okay. This is my thing about Ohio. Okay, so LSU and Ohio State are the same. Fickell and Napier.
Mm-hmm.
LSU could have had Napier, and I think if LSU would have got Napier, I think Napier would have had a bigger impact right away because he's recruited
that state
for so long. I think that would have been a seamless transition, but LSU is too proud for that.
Bro, Kelly is the real deal too, by the way. The guy was winning at Notre Dame when you don't get to recruit like that.
He's just a slime ball.
I agree. I'd say I like the dude. I'm telling you, he's a good hire.
Have you heard some of the stuff that he covered up for his players at Notre Dame? Have you heard some of the stuff that he covered up at Notre Dame for his players?
I haven't, but I don't live in Indiana, so
let me put it this way. You remember the sex scandal that happened at LSU just a little bit ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
where they're screwing the freaking the coach or whatever.
the
recruiting coordinator, whatever she was.
Recruiting coordinator was screwing the wide receiver.
Yeah.
So
Booty.
Yeah, Kayshon Boutte was getting that booty. Miss Destiny Wilson.
And he stays. He's still there. Why is he still there?
Who?
Kayshon. I just saw that on he stayed. I thought he was leaving.
I thought he declared for the NFL draft.
Maybe he didn't hire an agent because from what I just saw, it was from 3 days ago. The guy at ESPN Baton Rouge.
Can you declare and then undeclare?
It depends on if you don't hire if you don't hire an agent, yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure how that.
Depends on exactly how you do it, but you have to not hire an agent.
So yeah, if you wanna coach that'll die on the sword for you, it's Kelly. And yeah, he's won a bunch of games. I just don't. He's just God. He's so freaking slimy.
Oh yeah, dude, I don't like the guy. I didn't say I
He
like
he's
him.
he.
No,
I feel
coach
the
doesn't
same
like
way.
him. He's a Notre Dame fan. He hates him, but he'll tell you he's a good coach.
Oh, coach don't like him either.
Coach hates him,
Yeah,
but he's a good
slimeball.
coach. He knows. The guy took Notre Dame to 2 playoffs, bro.
Yeah, and if there's anywhere that it's tough to,
Yeah, man.
you're up against it.
The thing about it there is that they do not bend those admission standards for anyone, football players included.
I would say it's as hard to recruit for Notre Dame as it is for the service academies.
Pretty close, yes. Pretty close. Right. They're not and here's the thing. You can recruit top level talent there, right?
Yeah,
It's what did you just say earlier about the SEC? It's the depth of talent
yeah,
all the way through the roster.
yep.
Because if you lose one guy, what do you have behind that?
Hold on. Dog. Golly, I'm sorry, guys, if that blew your eardrums out.
No.
What's out there?
Who, Hank? You're saying Freeman made what a tough sell to the alumni? Notre Dame, Stanford, Northwestern. Yeah.
Yeah, and we see how bad Northwestern's been because
they're
they don't
trash.
bend the
And so
knee.
Stanford.
Yeah, they don't bend the knee for football.
You got coaches that go there and win for a little while, and then but you can't sustain it, because
Yeah.
again, the depth of talent is just not.
It's not there.
Yeah. But why did he make that a tough, Hank? I don't understand what you're saying. What was it that he made a tough sell? But again, I don't know this, but to me, is it because they hate Notre Dame or what? Because I know there's a lot of that Big Ten hating Notre Dame stuff. That's, I think that when Notre Dame, if they ever have to join a conference. Oh, dude. Okay.
Oh.
But if they ever have to join a conference, it will be the SEC. They're not going to go to the Big Ten. They hate the Big Ten. Hate them. That anti-Catholic stuff that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Around there.
Emmitt Smith Jr. went to Stanford. Yeah. You know what? That brings me on something. I'm glad you said that, Evil. That does not bother me as much. A kid wants to be his own guy. Just like Frank Gore Jr.
He also grew up a lot different than Emmitt Smith did too. You know what I mean? Emmitt Smith, he had Emmitt Smith Sr. as a father and all kinds of money and was a smart kid. Emmitt grew up different than that. I'm not saying he wasn't smart. I'm saying he had to be a great athlete. And
it's kind of like,
when you grow up rich and silver spoon like that, you don't have that same. A lot of times, those kids just don't have that same drive in them.
Yeah,
they don't know what it's like to live hard.
No, they don't. It's like Frank Gore Jr. playing for Southern Miss. Kids want to make their own legacy also.
On top of that, though, was he as good as Frank Gore? Probably not.
He's pretty good, but I don't think he's as good as Frank Gore.
Southern Miss, bro. I tend to believe that that's not the case.
Yeah, but he's everything for that offense. They ran a whole game with him playing the Wildcat. The entire game.
But again, I have never heard of the dude, and I'm telling you, his daddy he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I know. When I don't remember Frank Gore at Miami. I'm a little young for that. But
he was so good.
But I don't think that's people kind of get caught up in this legacy thing. I don't think that's really always necessarily a thing.
The legacy guys that generally make it are the ones that are playing a different position than their parent did, and usually the ones that work out are the ones that are their dad was okay.
Yeah,
but he wasn't a pro. He wasn't a superstar. He was okay, and
Yeah.
then they become a superstar. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think also that like what you said, their dad was probably like, an all SEC linebacker or something, but not good enough to get drafted or what have you, or had a small stint in the NFL and then
Yeah, but never really made it huge or whatever. They're
yeah,
Jerry Rice Juniors of the world and the Barry Sanders Juniors of the world, and those they're not. You know what I mean? Those dudes.
I mean, the only one that
are.
I've seen
Michael
that's
Jordan's kids. You know what I mean? They were good basketball players. They weren't their dad.
the only one I've
Steph
seen,
Curry's dad, Dale Curry, was a good player in the NBA.
not a
He's
great.
nothing like his dad, his son, though. Either of his sons for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, the only one that we've seen that has been good is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, it happens some. I mean,
Because neither of the Sanders,
Archie was unbelievable, and his sons were great. You know what I mean? But Eli, and he was okay, but they both won Super Bowls, so they, But yeah, like the ones that work their asses off, like Marvin, yes, and Marvin also, he's a superstar, and he's he ended up there. He'll be a Hall of Famer, but when you start thinking about it, Marvin Harrison also had to go through some shit. He went I forget all the situation around it, but I think there was a murder and some stuff involved with them. I don't know exactly what happened there, but it's not like it was all sunshine and roses for him, but let me ask you, what do you think? You think Ray Lewis's kid is going to be like Ray Lewis?
No way.
You know what I mean? It's just like, you just don't see it happening very often. And it's a hard thing to live up to. It's a hard. I mean, everybody's all over Bronny, LeBron's kid. I think he's very good. But is he LeBron? Shit, no.
I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one that's gonna be as good as his daddy. Tiger Woods' son.
He might.
That kid is something.
A different game too.
A lot different game. But have you seen him?
Yes.
That kid's something.
Yep, I agree.
But that's so hard. That is. And you know what? This breaks me into.
He says that he stayed locked in and worked. You have to stay locked in and work, and that's
guys,
the thing, when you're rich.
This is a perfect segment because I'm about to have somebody on that is, was a good friend of mine in middle, elementary, early middle school, pre-Katrina. We are gonna have Dylan Favre on, the nephew of great Brett Favre.
Very cool.
We are going to have him on the podcast. He just hit me up on Twitter about 5 minutes ago, awesome, and said, bro, let's get it locked in. And that is a perfect staple into what we're talking about. A kid that has always been unfairly judged against his uncle Brett. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, and that puts a lot of pressure onto a kid. And we're going to get into that. There are going to be some things that we will not talk about on this. I'm not going to ask him. But I do want to get into that about kind of, and his thing on why he didn't go to Southern Miss and he went to Mississippi State instead. And guys want to make their own legacy. It's cool to have an uncle or a dad that played the game, but it is a lot of pressure. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
So that was a little drop announcement for that we're going to get it scheduled up, but I'm super excited about that.
I can't wait. That'll be a fun show. That looks like it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, most definitely. And he does not do guys. He doesn't do interviews.
Have fun with that, man. You guys will enjoy that. That'll be good.
Yeah, and we haven't talked.
Probably good for him. It's probably good for him. You know what I mean? To talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. So, and he bounced around some arena leagues and stuff like that. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, just that last name has got to be a tough thing to carry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The expectations are probably way out of whack.
Yeah, you talk about his grandfather was a very successful high school head coach down there in Mississippi.
Yeah.
He went to a power program in St. Stanislaus down there in Mississippi. He was Mississippi football, and he essentially kind of broke all of Brett's records, but that's all he was ever compared to was Brett because he played quarterback.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can't imagine. I can't imagine what that is every time you do something, your uncle is being brought into your
I
face
mean,
about
the
it.
guy won he was the Iron Man of pro football.
Yeah.
You know, he played through everything.
But and
You
and
know,
these
and
people think that Dylan should have been Brett. And it just
listen, and that just in and of itself, even if you could be more talented, even. But again, things change whenever stuff like you know what I mean, like. And Brett could have helped him and did everything in the world, but the thing is that to carry what somebody you always think about those little brothers that do that, follow. It's the same as they're trying to follow their big brother who is the stud in high school, and they don't really get it done the same way. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, we don't even
It is
know
what it is. It's a tough deal.
as
And
good
that's
as
locally, I'm just saying, but like when you're talking nationally, imagine what he had to deal with every time somebody saw what his name was.
and we forget about the biggest ordeal, which was Hurricane Katrina, which took out
Absolutely.
his residence and also where I lived. Well, we haven't talked since Hurricane Katrina. So, yeah, man, it's super cool. I'm excited about that, but I think that's going to be a banger of a show with having him
Oh
on.
yeah, I can't wait. I'll be watching it.
So and I feel like a lot of fans just need to hear his story and how, it's not something really upset me. I saw he got signed for an arena team and it wasn't they marketed it as Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre's nephew is now signed to this team. Like even when he made it to the arena leagues, like it was always
would have pissed me right off too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. But you know what? That probably turned that guy into a strong dude, man. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
probably got some good perspective over it. That's going to be a fun show. I can't wait to see it. That'll be fun.
Yep.
I got to get Cody.
I got to get you too. I've been on here 2 hours, so I got to cut this thing up. And
Hank, I love yours. I love your last comment there, Hank. I can't wait for the same. I hope it's the same thing too. Horns down, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Manning's the real deal. So,
yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, be on the lookout for that. Thank you, Hall of Fame, for coming on again. And then obviously I think me and Hall of Fame are going to schedule something up so I can be on his show. And so we'll get something going. But yes, we're gonna have Dylan Favre on soon. I got to work out the schedule and see when he's available and all that. But I can't wait. Thanks everybody for long it on hanging out, and we will see you later. This is Cody with F is for Fanatic, and we are out.